Good morning. I'm C.E. Chester. Welcome to the Fiction Expedition, where I go explore a place and write a story inspired by the location. Today I'm at the Bison Range, an 18,000-acre nature preserve dedicated to giving bison natural habitat to live in. There's a 19-mile loop road that I'll be driving. I'm not going to keep the camera rolling the whole time I go, but I will get it out and start it up anytime there's something to see. Okay, this is the map of western Montana. Missoula is here. Glacier National Park is up here. And then where we're at is right here on this little green blob. It is on the main highway between Glacier and Missoula. But most people drive right past it because the highway goes on the back side of it. And to get to the entrance, you have to come around on this side.
As I was going up the first steep hill, these two bucks crossed the road in front of me. There wasn't anywhere to pull over, but there wasn't any cars behind me, so I grabbed my camera and got what shots I could.
I've just started on the Red Sleep Mountain Drive when I had to stop because of these lines on the hillside across the way. Those are remnants from Lake Missoula when this whole valley was flooded 12,000 years ago.
This area has a lot of erratics, rocks that were dropped by glaciers coming through. So I spend a lot of time stopping and looking like, ooh, is that an animal? Oh no, just a rock. I'm not sure if I found the bison or if they found me. The ones over here are running. I've got my car stopped and I am sticking out through the sunroof to catch this. Hi, little one. Pan back over here to catch the stampede going by. Oh, that one has a collar. Must probably for GPS tracking. Lots of little babies. The herd is about 350 adults, and they usually have 50 to 60 calves per year. We got one getting coated in dust to help protect him from the bugs. And these other ones stopping to pose for their picture. Thank you, guys. And there's still more coming. Another one with a collar. And that one with the cap over there, if he turns back, you'll see he has a crooked horn, or she. Both genders have horns. Now she's looking back at me with her crooked horn. I was so busy watching the guys on the passenger side that I didn't even notice this little group here climbing up the ridgeline on the other side of the car. They're being very vocal this morning. There are a couple places we're allowed to get out of the car, and this is the first one, the Bitterroot Trail. It's named after the plants that grow here in the spring. It's about a 1/4-mile hike around to the other side. I'll show you the view once we're over there. I'm about halfway down the trail. You can see the people down there at the end of it. I just wanted to stop and show you the view. My car is back that way. I'm going to slowly pan around so you can see the view from here. And a serviceberry bush, also called a Saskatoon. Those berries were not ripe yet. They will be much darker when they're ready to pick. And there is the road I will continue on after I get back to my car.
And we are back to the trail. I'm at the second place we can get out. As you can see, there are restrooms available. The trail goes up the hill and around to the other side. I'll resume recording when I get to the top. All right, I'm at the top. Those are the Mission Mountains off in the distance, with the town of St. Ignatius down in the valley. Unfortunately, I don't see any animals from here, other than grasshoppers. There were lots of grasshoppers jumping off the path as I climbed up. I could go back down the way I came up, or I can go down this smaller trail that goes down here, around this side, and then down between those trees. As you can see, I decided to go down the trail. I'm at the straight stretch where I can see the parking lot and my car below us. I've still got quite a ways to go. This is the high water mark for Glacial Lake Missoula, which means everything below us was underwater 12,000 years ago. completed the driving portion. I'm down by the picnic area and at this little trail down here. I've never been on it before, so I'm going to check it out. Got a nice little creek down here. I'm off on a little side path coming down to a section of the river. It's nice in the shade. First, I thought that was a beaver house, but now I think it's just a rock and a very green pond. I finished up the little trail. Unfortunately, there wasn't any wildlife on it, and you got to see what little bit of a view there was. Now I'm in the picnic area where I found a nice shady spot to park so I can be in the shade with the nice breeze as I read my story to you. After I started reading my story in the picnic area, some guys started doing construction behind me. So I moved out by the front gate, only to have my microphone fail. After 2 failed attempts to read this on location, I gave up and came home. So now I'm going to read it to you here in the comfort of my favorite chair. Time Slip by C.E. Chester. Kirsten pulled over into the parking area and turned off her car. The cool breeze tousled her hair as she got out. It felt good to get out and walk after sitting for so long. So good, she stopped at the front bumper and stretched before going up the trail. The view was everything she'd hoped it would be. She could see dark spots in the valley below her and wanted to believe they were bison or elk laying in the grass. But she knew they were most likely rocks or tree stumps. She followed the main path around until it ended. She could see the parking area and her car below her, and a small trail leading straight down towards it. She wasn't sure if it was a game trail or a walking path. Whichever it was, she was going to take it. Kirsten was glad she was going downhill because this route was steeper. She had to slow down for each twist and turn in the path. Finally, there was a straight stretch, and she could look up instead of focusing on the trail. On her next step, she found there wasn't ground for her foot to come down on. The world tilted sideways as she fell. She rolled a couple times before coming to a stop at the base of a tree. She groaned in pain as she slowly got back to her feet. She was covered in dust and pine needles and brushed off what she could. At least she wasn't injured, other than a couple scratches. She sighed and looked down at the parking lot, wondering how much further she had to walk. The parking lot was empty. Her car was gone. Somebody must have taken it. This was a horrible place to steal a car. It wasn't safe for her to walk back to the visitor center, not with rattlesnakes, bears, and mountain lions around. She pulled out her cell phone. Should she call the visitor center? She'd have to look up the phone number. At some point, she was going to have to call 911 to report her car as stolen. But that was going to have to wait because she didn't have cell service. Kirsten heard a vehicle coming up the road. She exhaled a breath she didn't know that she had been holding. Relieved she wasn't alone anymore. The car came into view. It was the same color as hers. As the vehicle came to a stop in the same place that she had just been parked, she realized it was the same make and model. Could the thief have brought her car back to her? No, they wouldn't have had time to do the loop and get back up to the top. A woman got out of the car. Her hair was red and pulled back in a ponytail, just like Kirsten's. The woman stopped and stretched by the front bumper. What were the chances that someone that looked like her would drive the same type of vehicle and stretch just like she had? Something wasn't right. Kirsten watched the other woman climb the main path until she was out of sight. Not taking her eyes off the path, Kirsten rushed down to the parking lot. She kept expecting the other woman to come back down the path or another vehicle to pull up, but she was alone as she walked up to the car. The mirror unfolded just as it always did when her remote got close. When she pushed the button on the handle, it unlocked. She took one last look around, confirming nobody was going to jump out and yell "Gotcha!" before climbing behind the wheel. Everything was just as she had left it. Her binoculars were still on the seat. She knew she should get out of there and report the incident, but curiosity made her wait. She kept the binoculars panning back and forth between the main trail and the path that she had come down on. Finally, the other woman appeared on the smaller trail. The woman looked just like her, not just the same hair color. It was like watching an old home movie, seeing the other woman descend. As the other woman came to the straight stretch, she became hard to see. Everything became wavy, like heat waves were rising off the ground. The woman lost her balance, leaned forward, and disappeared. 1 second she was on the trail, and the next second she was gone. Kirsten immediately turned to the base of the tree, expecting to find her there. It was bare. Then she looked over the entire trail with the binoculars, not finding anyone. She put the binoculars down and scanned the entire hillside. No one was there. She was all alone and suddenly didn't want to be. It seemed crazy, but the only explanation she could come up with was that she had somehow slipped back in time a few minutes and watched everything repeat. She wanted to call her parents and tell them about it, but her mother would probably accuse her of being on drugs. She could call her best friend, but he'd probably just tell her they'd been watching too many sci-fi movies lately. She wondered if she'd ever tell anyone about what had just happened. The end. If you like that story, my first book, Time Depressed, is also about time travel and Montana. It is available online in print and demand, ebook, and audio. Thank you.